Hey guys, back with another album review, and after this we have only one album left on my list of future albums to come out this year, and that is the new Agonist album. But before we get to that, as you see in the title below, this is the review of the brand new Cavalera Conspiracy record, and that is called Pandemonium. Um, in case nobody knows who Cavalera Conspiracy are, Cavalera Conspiracy is a heavy metal band that formed in the middle to late 2000s by the Cavalera brothers, Max and Igor, who started out their music careers all the way back to the early 80s when they were in probably one of the most legendary metal bands of all time, and no doubt the best metal band out of Brazil to most people, and I would agree with it, and that being Sepultura. And they were together from the beginning of Sepultura in the mid-80s until 96, 97-ish, when Max left Sepultura for reasons we're not sure why, still to this day, unless you talk to them. But Igor remained in Sepultura for about another 10 or so years. Meanwhile, Max, he went on to form his own band, Soulfly. And then in about 2006, 2007-ish, Igor left Sepultura, reunited with his brother Max together to form Cavalera Conspiracy. Now, the band has put out two albums previously, one in 2008 and then one in 2011. And both albums was very rooted in groove metal with some thrash and death metal mixed in. But with this album, with Pandemonium, the Cavalera brothers pretty much said, fuck the groove metal, we're going back to our roots. We're going back to what we were trying to pull back in the 80s with Sepultura, playing heavy, brutal thrash metal with some death metal components thrown in there. And that's exactly what they did with this album. They pretty much took all the groove metal out of their music and brought back their old school roots from the 1980s with a little modern twist to it. And here we get Pandemonium now with this particular album. You start out the album with three crazy great tracks at the beginning with Babylonian Pandemonium, Bonsai Kamikaze, and Scum. Now, Babylonian Pandemonium started out with a crazy weird intro, and then it gets into the heavy stuff, and it gets right into that brutal roots of their career. Same can be said with Bonsai Kamikaze. That is probably one of the most brutal tracks of the album for me. And then Scum being the shortest track of the album at 2.5. I kind of thought that because it's called Scum, I thought they were going to do a cover of Napalm Death or Electro Hippies or something like that, because those two bands have a song called Scum. But no, this was an original song, and it was actually a killer short song. Then that middle portion of the album with songs like Creme which I probably just destroyed. That song was a great long song. It was the longest track of the standard edition of the album at 5.5 minutes. Because on the deluxe edition there are two bonus tracks that are the longer tracks of the album. One at close to 6 minutes and one at 6.5. Which I haven't checked out yet, but with this song being the longest track of the standard edition, it was definitely a great track for that album. Apex Predator was another great one that just had some really good riffing going on and just overall sheer brutality. Father of Hate, which was towards the end of the album, was another great song that I really liked on the album with its riffing, and the soloing that was on that song too was really cool. And also on a couple songs during the album, some of the bass lines you get from Nate Newton, who This is his first album for Cavalera Conspiracy. Nate Newton, of course, being known as being the bass player for the metalcore band Converge. He came in to play bass, and I thought he did an excellent job. So yeah, I mean, but also the weaker points of the album, which were songs like I Barbarian, Insurrection, Not Losing the Edge, and The Crucible. I mean, they were good tracks, don't get me wrong, but as usual when I talk about the tracks that I never really cared for, they just weren't songs that got me 100% sold on their complete idea of their work. Apologize, sneezing a video. I've been having terrible sneezing problems for the past couple weeks. But anyways, with this album, I mean, you have great guitar playing from Max, as well as the other guitarist. I hope that does it for the sneezing, at least for this video. Max's guitar tone is still awesome. The production on this album was pretty raw, if you ask me. Like, for the most part, you could mostly hear just the guitars for the most part. The vocals were at times dissonant to the guitars. The drums, the drum production I thought was a little weak, personally, because it's like at times you could barely hear the drums. And the sound of the drums was kind of strange, but it was still alright. And so yeah, I just thought the production was kind of okay. I kind of thought that they could have done a well-produced album like they did with their last two. But I guess the brothers sought to go to a philosophy to try to do a raw produced album, see what happens. I mean, it worked a little bit in their favor, but at times the production kind of gets to me a little bit with how it sounded. But overall, this was still a pretty solid release. 8.25 out of 10. I thought this was a good album. Will it make the album of the year list? Who knows now, but we'll see whenever we get down to it here and about here pretty soon. But what did you guys think of Cavalera Conspiracy's Pandemonium? Let me know in the comments down below. And now that review's over, there's only one album left that's left to come out in the year that I'm going to check out, the new Agonist album. And then after that, I'll try to maybe find albums that interest me and check them out and review them. But anyways, peace.